beautiful beings of light. Speaking of light, I'm kind of all bright and stuff on Facebook. Hello, hello. I think I'm a couple minutes past the original time. I was just off in my own la la land of wonder and reality. It's really fun having being able to open your third eye and explore other dimensions and worlds and lands. So welcome, Kathy, Lauren. Who else do we have here? Jeff, welcome. Welcome, Mom. Hi. Grizzly, Whisker, Craig, Noah, Scott. Hey, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here once again. There we go. Oh, never mind. The light is really bright on Facebook, but it is what it is. Today we're talking about shapeshifting. And yeah, I mean, I had a huge download regarding shape-shifting. What is it? I want to talk about multiple personality disorder. And my conclusion is that in some regard, we all have multiple personality disorder. So we're going to be talking about that. I am going to deep dive into shape-shifting, multiple personality disorder, and why it's okay to be different people at different times, and what's really happening with the polarity, with the shifting. And yeah, and just, I mean, I think because we're all rapidly hopping in and out of multiple different parallel dimensions in every single moment, we're constantly becoming different people in every single moment. And it can be kind of a freaky thing, especially for, maybe your partners and loved ones, your family, but even for yourself, right? It's hard to kind of get a grips these days on exactly who we are in that moment, because we're not the same person in every moment. And to be honest, that is the best way to be at any time, right? It's just constantly in flux, constantly, in movement. And speaking of which, I have this really beautiful, what do I even call it? Like a tuning fork set, but it's all about the chakras. So I basically asked, what does everyone need today, right now? And it was the throat chakra that I was really drawn to. So I'm just going to start off, just kind of doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to start off with just a vibration, just a sound, right? So just take a moment to take a couple of deep breaths. It's Monday, and maybe the end of your Monday, and now you get to relax, maybe set intentions for the rest of the week, but just really clear your mind and allow the vibration to clear your mind. And I don't know how this is going to sound through speakers or through a microphone, so bear with me, and hopefully you kind of get the gist of taking this moment of peace. So I'm going to direct the first one to YouTube. So YouTube, please just kind of take a moment to quiet your mind. I find that with my channeling, I am so go, 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 go. As you all know, I want to talk as fast as possible, reach as many people as possible, and get as much information out as possible. And sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes it's not about pushing. Sometimes it's just about being. And I'm definitely practicing that a lot more often in my own life, being more present, more aware, more slow in a sense, even though it kind of kills me to do that. But it is really beautiful. So I have a really cool client story that I want to start with, and then I'm going to talk about just a couple of really awesome announcements. So this client story is all about the switch from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, and really that's that's what the awakening is all about. I really want to start getting away from the understanding or the word or the verbiage of awakening. And I don't know. I want to change it. I just don't know what to change it to. I guess the fifth dimension, transmutation, shifting. I don't really know what to call it. But for right now, the awakening, from what I believe, is the shift between the third dimension and the fifth dimension. We are ascending. We are raising our vibrational frequency at this time. So a client of mine who watches all of my videos, he's had many sessions with me. I'm not going to name names, but he's a really great guy, and he loves my videos, especially the lives. And he's probably watching, so hi, you're going to know who you are. And so, something happened, and he ended up going to jail for like a month. And he was in jail, and the whole time he was in jail, he was just raising the vibration of everyone there. And I really feel like he's going to do a lot of really good work, in helping other people who have gone through those kind of experiences. So he goes to jail. Before that, he's doing meditation, and he's sitting in breath work, and he's watching my videos, and he's doing all of these things. And then he said, when he came out of jail after that month and a half, he watched one of my videos, and he said everything within him was reacting and triggering to the video, right? He's like, not Elizabeth April again, talking about aliens. She's always got to go off on aliens, right? Or whatever it was that his mindset was. But here he is. I mean, he's been following me for probably at least a year or two now, loving all my content. And then he goes to jail. He's giving so much that his vibration is lowered. And then he comes back, and my videos were so triggering for him. All of the ego, all of the projection, all of the frustration comes up. And I just thought that was so interesting. And I really got a sneak peek look into all of the trolls who get very triggered by my content. So I just had to bring that up and say, hey, the fifth dimension, the third dimension, they're happening all the time. And whether it be a phone call with your mom, or a weekend with your grandkids, or whatever that may be, right? Usually those things are pretty uplifting, but, it could be something that really lowers your vibration. And then all of a sudden, you're in a different perception. You're in a different state. You're in a different vibrational frequency, which is going to mean that you are going to interact and react to the world around you in a different way, on top of the fact that you're going to be attracting different things in your reality as well. So I just wanted to start with that. I thought that was really interesting. Just a couple of announcements. I just want to mention that, okay, my podcast, first of all, I am not used to working with other people. So I'm working with a podcast company that is basically doing all of the production, all of the release, all of the things, which is really great. But I got an email the other day saying, Elizabeth, I'm not sure if we can move forward because we're not seeing the numbers that we want to see. And obviously all this fear comes up in me. And I'm like, I'm not used to being forced to hit numbers. I don't really care what numbers I hit, but I guess to get advertisers and whatever, we need a certain number of downloads per podcast. So if the podcast is not going to be, viewed as much, then I'm going to have to shut it down. And that's really unfortunate. And one of their biggest things was, well, how do you get, 5,000, 10,000 views per live video, but you only get 1,000 downloads per podcast? And I'm like, hey, my podcast has been out for a month. All right, give me a break. I don't know. People just take a little while to transition. So I do just want to rep the podcast and say, give it a chance. Please listen to it. It is like, mega downloads of information. It's so incredible, the information that's coming out. And I would absolutely hate for this podcast to get shut down. So please have a listen. Have a listen to all of the episodes. They're really only 20 minutes long. And they're so freaking mind-blowing. And, and I had someone who's never listened to me before email me. And he says, hey, I'm this guy 25-year-old from Sweden, and I just listened to your How the Universe Works in 30 minutes. He's like, you put all of my years of research together in 25 minutes. You strung it all together in that one podcast, and that was incredible. So they're impactful and they're reaching people, but I do want them to reach more people. So please click on the podcast link, check them out. Obviously only if it resonates with you, but I don't really like feeling pressured. And right now I'm feeling pretty pressured to deliver on something. So and share the podcast as well with your network, with your people. Like, it is really incredible stuff. And I just want it in front of more people. I just want it in front of more people, and I'm trying my best, but I am still that one woman show, with a lovely assistant. Okay. So my next podcast on Tuesday, so tomorrow night, is really amazing. I really haven't covered this topic in a long time, and it's called Free Will versus Destiny, how to override your predestined contracts. You wouldn't want to override your predestined contracts, but this podcast talks all about destiny versus free will. A lot of people get caught up in these concepts, and I talk all about soul contracts and blueprints. And my assistant Lauren should be, yes, there she is with the link to the podcast. So please check that out. Okay. And then also the podcast is on my website as well. It's just under podcast. Okay, and then also super exciting, I will be the host, the host MC interviewer for Contact in the Desert. That's super exciting. So I'm going to be interviewing people like Giorgio something from Aliens. What is it called? Alien Disclosure? Ancient Aliens? Oh my goodness. Okay, that just shows how much research I do on aliens and stuff. So the Giorgio guy, the host of the show, Ancient Aliens, I'm going to be I'm going to be interviewing him. I'm going to be interviewing George Norrie from Coast to Coast. I'm going to be interviewing, hopefully, really hopefully, David Wilcock. I'm going to be interviewing him, which is going to be really exciting. If you have some really deep questions that you have for any of the speakers in Contact in the Desert that you want them to answer, and I'm talking about next level questions. I'm not talking about like, what's your favorite food? No, I'm talking about like, I don't know, what's your understanding of, universal source consciousness, and where do you think, aliens reside? I don't know. Whatever the question is, please email me the question. Don't message me in the comment section, because it's just too much to read. But please email me your questions. Hey, I have a question for David Wilcox. I can't guarantee that your questions will be asked, but I am definitely looking for really interesting questions that go to those deeper levels. Okay. Awesome. Also, I will be lecturing at least twice this year in 2019, 2 different conferences, one here in LA and then one in Colorado. Super exciting. The next one that I will be a speaker at, it'll be June 22nd. It's called Disclose Fest, LA. It is incredible. I don't know if you guys know Nako and the Medicine People, but he's going to be performing. I'm so excited because I love his music. And so I'll be speaking, and I'm speaking about, what am I speaking about? How to break through the matrix and unlock your DNA. It's going to be so mind-blowing. If you're in the LA area, Orange County, Inglewood, I'm trying to name all the other things, Okay, I don't know LA too much about right now, but if you are in the LA area, please come out to Disclose Fest. It's going to be so next level, and it's more heart-spaced than mind-spaced. Contact in the Desert, very logical, very analytical, very awesome, but also very removed from that heart space and going to those deeper layers. So Santa Clarita Valley, please come out and see me and give me a big hug and watch my lecture and come out and see everyone else. It's just a one-day event, and it's free. Believe it or not, shit is still free these days, and Disclose Fest is free. Highly, highly, highly recommend you come and join me. And a bunch of other incredible speakers who have way bigger names than myself will also be at Disclose Fest. And then Okay, good. And then one last thing, mind-blowing webinars, as per usual, how to be psychic, how to break through the matrix, how to manifest your dream life. They're all out there, and they're just pre-recorded, so you will be sent the recording via email. So please check that out. And hi, Karen from South Africa. Thank you for joining. And you are going to be joining as well from Virginia. That's perfect. Awesome. Okay, please, I just want to say before we deep dive into this really incredible content that I have for you today, be sure to give me the thumbs up, comment in the comment section below, share this live video, and especially for you, Facebook, when you're resonating with my stream of consciousness, when you're resonating with these downloads, I love seeing the little hearts or the thumbs up, anything to kind of motivate me and open me up and know that I'm kind of on the right track with resonating with all of you, because sometimes I'm so in my own little world, I have no idea if the content is landing or not. So that's what I like to see. Thank you all so much. Okay, great. And then, super exciting, my next live video will not be on my own network, okay? It will be and it won't be. Next Monday, I am going to be doing an interview, I guess, with Matt Belair. I don't know, does any of you know Matt Belair? I've got like little hairs here. I just want to like scoop up. But anyway, does anyone know Matt Belair? Matt Belair, I just learned of him. His content is absolutely incredible. He calls himself the Zen athlete. I want to know where he gets his information from, because we're pretty much talking about the same things, which is really cool. And he's young and he's motivational. And I think we're just going to really hit it off, just like Rex Bear and I. Also, Rex Bear and I do have a collab this month. I don't know when it's going to be. He's a busy guy, so I'll talk about that. But yeah, so next live video, Matt Belair. It's going to be off of his channel. So my assistant is posting links right now in the comment section to his channel. So I'm going to also post a link as well next Monday, about where the live video is going to be hosted off of. And it's going to be hosted off of his channel. And then I'll probably do a little live video myself, just on the side, probably off of Facebook, I'm guessing. So yeah, so YouTube, for you especially, please check out Matt Belair's YouTube channel and check out our interview next week. We're going to be talking about simulation theory and the Matrix. And wow, have I ever downloaded some incredible content about simulation theory and what is flawed about simulation theory. It's really incredible. Okay, so I want to talk about why I want to talk about shapeshifting. And the reason why is because in the past 3 weeks, in the past week, 3 people have seen me shapeshift, okay? I'm going to talk about the coolest shapeshifting kind of experience. Now, I will say that in my entire life, 26 years, I have had about 15 people now see me shapeshift. Now, some of you are going to be freaked out and say, Elizabeth, you're this cute little blonde girl. What do you mean shapeshift? What does that mean? And yeah, you know what? Maybe it's going to be a shock to your system, and it's not really pretty, or our definitions of pretty, and our standard definition of that. So what I'm talking about is shape-shifting into the most prevalent parallel version of myself. Okay, we're going to be talking about multiple personality disorder and what it means to be more masculine, more feminine, more high vibrational, more low vibrational. But we're also going to be talking about parallel personalities in the simultaneous atmospheric, vibration of this universe. What is possible? And what is possible is that the higher the vibration we go, the more fifth dimensional we get, the more we bend the lines of this linear reality, the less I am Elizabeth April as you see me, and the more I am anyone I need to be in order to get this information across. Now, by no means am I allowing beings to use my body, because I don't consider myself to be a straight channel like Bashar. I have full control over my own, body, or human, I guess, my vessel. But yeah, so my closest parallel version of myself is a gray. Really cool. I've got little Grayson over here, but he's too far to reach. And so literally who I really am, or what I feel like I really look like, and the body in which I resonate the most with, is a tall gray, an 8 foot tall, kind of ugly, but kind of beautiful looking, huge head, gray skin, big black eyes, little tiny mouth, small little nose, a gray. I'm talking about a gray. Anyway, and so I've had, since I was 18, 19, I've had multiple people, especially friends, kind of break through the matrix is what I call it, and see my true self. I remember the first time it happened, like it was yesterday. It was like probably 8 years ago. And it was a friend's girlfriend who, sorry kids, but happened to be tripping on mushrooms. And she actually literally, as I was teaching this group of my friends, I was talking about the universe and quantum physics, and she's like, Elizabeth, I saw your true self. I'm like, what do you mean you saw my true self? She's like, you transformed. All of a sudden you didn't have hair. Your skin went gray. Your eyes got really big. Your neck got really long, and she's like, you were no longer you, but you were still you. And I remember I teared up, like I bawled my eyes out for probably like 3 hours that night, because finally I felt like I'd been seen. It was this really weird thing. It's kind of like, and I'm sure a lot of you kind of resonate with this in other ways. It's kind of like, for example, like being gay your whole life, and you've never told anyone about being gay, and then all of a sudden someone comes up to you and says, I know you're gay, and you're like, what? You see me? You know who I am? That's incredible. It's amazing. It's scary, I think, for everyone involved, but it's incredible and amazing. And I'll let most of you know that, especially if you're drawn to me, especially if you're drawn to my content, you're most likely not just a human. Newsflash, you're most likely something else as well. Have you ever had feelings that this isn't your home? Have you ever had feelings that your family isn't your family? Have you ever had feelings that you know more than what you can perceive in this incarnation? Yeah, probably. So the most recent incident of this, and I'm really going to open all of your minds to what is possible. Like I'm telling you, break through the matrix, understand that this is all just a veil of illusion. It really is, right? And you can create your own veil of illusion. And the second that you realize and understand that something is possible, you start to experience it in your life. That's it. Knowledge creates experience. Experience doesn't create knowledge. You have to be aware of the color black in order to see black. Our awareness creates our reality. Our objective observation creates our reality. That's also been proven by quantum physics. So this past week, I had a friend, a new friend in LA, also a client of mine. She was watching my live video. This was my live video from a couple of weeks ago. So she was watching the recording of my live video, live at 5:55, and she was with a friend of hers, and she describes this friend as like a beacon of light, like a very high vibrational individual. And she tells me, she says, Elizabeth, you were going into this beautiful rant talking about whatever it was that video was about, and all of a sudden you shifted. Right? In an instant, all of a sudden, same sort of thing. Your head got really large, your skin turned gray, your hair dissolved, and you were a gray. And I mean, this is not something that I talk about often for someone to just see in me, especially because I look like this chick, this female, right? This human. Anyway, and so her and her friend turned to each other watching this live video together, right? After the fact that it was live, they turn to each other and say, did you just see that? Did you just see her shift like that? And her friend, first time ever watching my live videos, was like, yeah, does she do that often? But she also said, yo, I love this chick, right? I love this chick. So, but she's like, hey, does she do that often? And my friend says, I watched her live during the video, and I never saw her shift like that, right? Now, this is a very similar thing to seeing reptilians shift. You have to be at a certain vibrational frequency level to break through the illusion of this matrix, to see things that are always happening that are not necessarily, we can't necessarily perceive, right? And it's true that our eyesight and our color spectrum is like less than 10% of the 100% of the color spectrum that is within the universe, right? So sorry to freak most of you out, and maybe I've lost subscribers or I've lost followers, or you're like, this girl is way too next level, and that's okay. Right? But I know cosmic disclosure is coming. I know that eventually the understanding, the belief, and the proof that's really already out there in declassified documents, I know it's just a matter of time. I did not come here, on this planet with this knowledge to hold my truth back and to hold myself back. So I just thought that was really cool. And then I was having a psychic exchange with a friend of mine, and we get together once a month and, we read each other's energy. And she says, Elizabeth, this is so weird. She's like, are you getting glitches on your end? Because we're doing Skype. I'm like, no, I'm not getting any glitches. She's like, all of a sudden, she's like, in this pulsating format, the video will go fuzzy and you will shift, right? And then it'll go back to normal. And then it'll go fuzzy again and you'll shift and it'll go back to normal. And she says, this keeps happening. And she says, I know it's not just a random glitch, because it's almost like this code of pulsating energy coming from you that is shifting the technology, right? So anyway, and I had another client, experience a similar thing. I just want to let all of you know that the second that you open your mind and realize that not only am I not just a human, but you're not just a human, and we're actually all just experiencing this very small, very insignificant life form right now as a human being, right? This vessel that's impermanent. We're here, right? So that is what triggered this video into shifting, shape-shifting, right? But also multiple personality disorder. Now, I want to talk about multiple personality disorder, and I just want to be very, I want to put a little disclaimer out there to say, I am not talking about the medical version of multiple personality disorder. I am not trying to put anyone down who actually has multiple personality disorder. I will explain that we all have an aspect of this disorder within us happening every single moment, okay? We really do. And we also have to know that it's okay to feel like you're going crazy. It's okay to feel like you're losing grips on your own reality. It's okay to feel like you are a different person yesterday than you are today, than you will be tomorrow. That's okay. Actually, that's completely normal. Oh, and it actually breaks my heart that society is teaching kids that it's not okay to be different. It's not okay to change. And the same thing within marriages. Oh, you're not the person that I married. You're not the person I thought you were. Well, guess what? Maybe you're not changing and the other person is, right? It's really looked down upon within society these days when we do change and when we do shift and when we are different. It's deemed as wrong. And I think it's wrong to not change, right? To be stagnant is wrong. So yeah, okay. What did I want to mention? Okay, multiple personality disorder typically happens, right? And basically the definition of it is when you have two or more distinct personalities, and what really defines the disorder between just what I'm kind of talking about, something more casual, is the disassociative part of it, right? Have any one of you ever, or do you know anyone who has been, what is it called when a doctor says that you have something? A diagnosis. Have you ever been diagnosed or know anyone who has been diagnosed with multiple personality disorder? Typically, the biggest difference is the dissonance, the disconnect, the forgetfulness of, hey, I didn't say that. Well, but actually you did. And you're actually disassociating yourself from one part of who you are. And the reason why most of us, all of us, but especially those people in particular, split off into different personalities is because we have trauma, right? Now, the most trauma that we have, like the personality disorder of Sybil, I believe, right? She had like 25 different personalities. Those are major, major traumas that people go through. And in order to protect and defend and stay safe in those moments of trauma, they actually create or bring out a whole new personality. I don't believe that they're different personalities made up by that person. I believe that they are different parallel past lifetimes, past lifetimes that are coming into the present moment to basically help save that person. Say, you're 2 years old, you're getting abused. You have not defined your personality as this 2-year-old in this lifetime. So let's just bring back a personality that you did define in a past lifetime so that it can protect you, because you can't protect you in this moment, right? That's real multiple personality disorder. And there is a spiritual explanation for it. But then we are all being traumatized in every moment. Maybe it was a bad divorce in childhood. Maybe it was, no support from your family. Maybe it was the fact that it was always about your sister and not about you. Maybe it was being left behind. Maybe it was a bad breakup. Maybe it was losing your job. Maybe it was suicidal tendencies. Maybe it was a deep depression. Maybe it was drug abuse, right? Doesn't matter what it is, but we all, as humans, go through trauma. We go through trauma to have experiences, to suffer, to be challenged, to grow, to move forward, right? To learn our lessons, the lessons that we put out on our own path, our blueprints. Okay, sorry about that tangent. So anyway, we all have multiple personalities, and I'll give you a really funny and really good example, and you'll probably be chuckling. And I want you to all move away from this live video being very aware of your own multiple personalities. And then I want to talk about the third dimension versus the fifth dimension and how the polarization is really affecting this multiple personalities going on in us today. So when I dress up, okay, like when I've got like this cute little crop top on and like high-waisted pants, and I've got my makeup on, kind of like today, and I've got like a kimono and I'm feeling really pretty, right? Like when I'm feeling pretty and I've got like cute sandals or whatever, right? I will literally go to the grocery store and I will be looking at hummus. Like I caught myself doing this the other week and I laughed so hard at myself in the grocery store. So like I was like looking at the hummus and I was like in the aisle and I was like twirling my hair. What hummus do I want today? And I'm like, what am I doing? Twirling my hair? I don't twirl my hair. I'm not a hair twirler. You know what I mean? Like it's such a feminine thing to do. Like, oh, like what do I want? I don't know. What's going on? I don't know. What am I feeling? I don't know. I don't do that, right? I'm not this like very dainty divine feminine. I don't have that energy. So when I switch into that energy and I'm very feminine in that moment based on the choices that I made that day, I catch myself in it. It's very apparent to me when I'm feminine. It's very obvious to me. When I'm divinely masculine and I'm structured and I'm analytical and I'm problem solving and I'm very serious, I get very serious when I get divinely masculine, I don't notice it because I'm usually that way. I'm usually always solving people's problems all day. I'm usually very serious about the solutions to the problems. As you know, if you've been a client recently, you'll know that I've been quite intense. And so the other day I get off of my motorcycle and I'm like all decked out in my like pretty dudely gear, which I really love. And so then I like go meet my girlfriend at her work and I'm like, hey babe. And she's like, whoa. She's like, you're such a dude right now. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I didn't say that, but it's that masculine energy. It was like in that moment, she's like, whoa. She's like, I just totally saw a flash of you. It's like you shifted. It's like you shifted into this masculine energy. And she's like, your jawline gets more intense and your brow gets more furrowed and you get more serious, right? You don't laugh as much. And I'm like, yes, I totally see it. We're shifting in every single moment. Sometimes we're shifting from high vibration to low vibration. Sometimes we're shifting from masculine to feminine. Sometimes we're shifting from alien to human. Sometimes we're really grounded in our body and sometimes we're really ungrounded, right? We're shifting all the time and it's okay. It's okay. It's totally okay to be a different person. It's totally okay to not know who you are in that moment. It's actually great to say, who am I? I don't know. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Okay. How do I create the person that I want to be? I put action behind the things that I want and not action behind the things that I don't want. Whoa, what a big breakthrough, right? It's really incredible when you really start to look at it. So I want to ask all of you, and I just want to chat with all of you right now in this moment. we're all shifting all the time. We are all these master shape shifters. We really are. And I know that a lot of, especially conspiracy and blah, 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 and, you know, people who look into reptilians and stuff, they all deem shape shifting as a really bad thing. And sometimes when shape shifting is used for manipulation purposes, and sometimes when that truth is being hidden and held back, yeah, it can be really negative, right? Because you're withholding information that could actually benefit and raise people's vibration. But shape-shifting is a beautiful thing. We are all these master shifters, which is really incredible. We have to start turning that around to be something positive. So I want to ask all of you, we all shift. What do you find you shift in and out of the most? Right? What is the polarity for you? Where do you find, you know, you're shifting most in your life? Is it like from work life to personal life? Is it from being the boss to being the mom? You know, is it from being the yogi to being the triggered one, right? Is it masculine, feminine? What is the polarity for you? What do you shift in and out of the most in your life? I'm really curious. I just kind of was very vulnerable with all of you about my own shifting, you know. So let's see here who we've got. Okay, from Boss to Mom, Amanda on YouTube. Very nice. Hi, Wayne. Okay. Interesting. Tim says, your left side seems masculine and right side feminine. It was interesting because actually, energetically, the right side of us is very masculine and the left side of us is very feminine. And I find that when I flip my hair on one side or the other, I'm actually making a conscious choice of who do I want to be today? Do I want to be more of the feminine outward or more of the masculine outward? Today I'm more feminine because this is my left side. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, this is a good question from Christopher. If you're reptilian in one lifetime, are you reptilian forever? Okay, I've only seen the draconian in me come out. Okay, interesting. Okay, no, absolutely not. If you're Elizabeth April in one lifetime, are you Elizabeth April forever? No, you're not. If you're Palladian in one lifetime, are you Palladian forever? No, you're not. Same thing with reptilian, right? If you are a dark murderer in one lifetime, which we've all been, okay, we've all been dark murderers. Are you a dark murderer every lifetime? No, you are rewriting and recreating your reality and therefore recreating history in every single moment, in every single incarnation, in every single lifetime. Great question. Let's see. Kathy, Zen to triggered. Yeah, totally. Okay, what else? Male to female. Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, silent to vocal. Okay, very cool. Yeah. Okay, feel very feminine inside, but very body language, very masculine. Interesting. Let's see what we got here on Facebook. One hit wonder to a full-blown femme. Okay. It's funny. Okay. From tree to bird. Ooh, very cool, Zena. What else? Free spirit enlightened to bossy frustrated. Oof, I feel that for sure, Christine. Thank you for being vulnerable. Home Scott versus work Scott. Yeah, totally, Scott. Okay. Yogi to triggered for sure. Okay, cool. Masculine to femme. Good and bad. Yeah, absolutely. Summer loving to winter miserable. Yeah, Lisa, totally get that. Angry to needy. Okay, yeah, interesting. Introvert to extrovert. Okay, great stuff, guys. Thank you all so much. Let's see. So, what are the factors that influence our shifting, right? It's really important. Every single thing around us is a vibrational frequency. The food that you eat, believe it or not, it could literally, the food that you eat could literally tip the scale and trigger you into that low vibrational state. And I hate to say this, guys, because I know most of you, we're all the same. I am a sugar fiend, okay? Like, I can feel my body craving sugar because it's an addiction. And I know that I'm probably using that word a little bit harshly, but I have to just say that I've been watching crazy amount of documentaries and information on sugar. It's bad stuff, guys. It is seriously bad stuff. It's not about fat. It's not about calories. That is all just a distraction from the sugar industry. Sugar, 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 sugar. It will melt your freaking mind, right? Watch all the TV you want, but get rid of sugar. I'm telling you, it will literally put you into a low vibrational state. I find that my face gets all like bloated and I feel very inflamed, like inside, outside. Like I just feel low vibrational. I feel gross when I do a sugar binge. Okay. So like, anyway, like we all get caught up in it, right? But definitely do a little bit of research, get back into it, try and decrease the amount of processed and sugary foods as much as possible in your life and transition it over to more fruits as far as snacks and things. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm just telling you all what I'm doing. And I'm not blaming anyone because I definitely love sugar and it's so fucking bad. So anyway, so I just wanted to like just kind of put that in there, that is definitely a variable that affects our life in every single moment that is like killing us. It is killing us. Okay. Anyway, that was like a little bit of an offshoot. Okay, so I want to talk about fifth dimension. So the third dimension, okay, third dimension, I've talked about this many, many times. It's a physical state of being. It's a physical state of being that is contained within both time and space. It's the third dimension frequency. It is. It's a vibrational frequency. It's a density. Okay. So that being said, the third dimension is linear. It's one thing in the one moment of time, right? And usually it's one physical thing in one moment of time. Where are we going to? We're going to the fifth dimension. We're raising our vibrational frequency to the fifth dimension. One serious symptom, okay, one serious effect of the fifth dimension frequency is simultaneousness. That's probably not a word, okay? But you know what I'm saying. One thing about the fifth dimension is that both time and space don't exist within the fifth dimension. So therefore, the higher we raise our vibration, the more simultaneous of a beautiful white light being we become. We become simultaneous beings, not human beings, okay? Once again, I should write a freaking book on this, okay? We become simultaneous beings, not human beings. There's a huge difference there. Okay, so what do I mean by simultaneous beings? It means that all of a sudden, say you're in this like beautiful, not even like a high vibrational place, but a liminal place where you're like, I don't know who I am in this moment, and I'm okay with that. I'm not defining myself or attaching myself to the role as a mother, to the role as a CEO, to the role as a boss. I'm not attaching myself to the role as a kombucha drinker or the role as a consumer, right? I'm just open. I'm just open to creating my reality. That is the best place to be in every single moment. It's just you're open to creating who you are in that moment. So say, for example, you go into the woods with this state of being, this liminal state of being of like, I'm not needed. I've got free time. I'm just me. I'm just this entity, this soul in the forest, right? All of a sudden, you start walking around on your tippy toes and you start crouching really low and you feel as if there's a bow and arrow in your arms. All of a sudden, you have shapeshifted yourself into a Native American indigenous man, a warrior, a hunter. And guess what? That is not a being that is entering you. That is not an entity that is invading you. That's you. That's you coming into you in that moment. That is you allowing yourself to experience the other versions of yourself. Like, how mind-blowing is that? And you can do that. And to be honest, everyone, I love to experience other versions of myself all the time. All the time, right? Sometimes I'm a gay man when I'm watching like a super cool TV show, right? Sometimes I'm a freaking superhero who can levitate. And sometimes I am Elizabeth April. And sometimes I'm a tall gray up on board a ship, right? Which I love to be. Sometimes I'm an ant. Sometimes I'm a butterfly. Sometimes I'm as graceful as a tree. And sometimes I am a loud, obnoxious, whatever, masculine man, who needs to be right? So I can be all of these things. And as long as you're open to that liminal state of being to say, I want to discover the aspects of myself. So who am I really? And the more that we understand that who we are is not just who we are in this moment, the more we break through the matrix and we open up to everyone that we've been before. And I'm not just talking about on this planet, and I'm not just talking about the past. I'm not just talking about human incarnated lifetimes from the past. I'm talking about interdimensional lifetimes as well. And I want to let you all know that when I do individual channelings for people, whether it be in my group session or an individual session with a person, and if you're a client, you know this, I see people as who they really are, really only when my third eye is open and I'm in that state, right? I'm not like totally just like walking around life like, whoa, this is crazy. I have to be grounded. But I see Palladians, right? Like I see this guy with this big scruffy beard and crazy hair and bright blue eyes as a human. And all of a sudden I see his like Palladian version of himself, like stepping out. And he looked very similar to his Palladian version of himself. And I see this all the time. Almost every day that I channel, I see people's true self. And usually their true self is not just who they are in this moment, right? But we also need to realize that everyone that we have been before in the past and in the future is happening right now. We are coexisting with all of those aspects of ourself, okay? So the fifth dimension is simultaneous, which means that every time we feel the polarity of, whoa, I was just really negative, or whoa, I'm like really in a great place right now, right? And you're seeing the polarities, that's a really positive thing, because we need to basically collapse the attachment to the current polarities, to the current reality. We need to collapse that in every single moment in order to recreate ourselves in full flow. The more we resist every single moment and the individual aspects of each moment, the more we resist that, the more we are attached to our individual aspects of life. And that's it. That's really all it comes down to. It's as simple as that. So in order to move forward in the fifth dimension, we need to let go of who we think we are. We need to be okay with being different versions of ourselves in every moment. And if you have a partner or you have family members who cannot agree or who cannot accept yourself as those different aspects, then they're not at that vibrational level to meet you halfway, or to even meet you at the level that you're at. And that's okay. And we need to accept and love them for the person that they're choosing to be in that moment as well. But I tell you that you were a mathematician, you were a philosopher, you were a builder, you were a linguist, you were a healer, you were an interdimensional traveler, you were a Palladian, you were a reptilian, you were an Anunnaki, you were Arcturian, you were all of these things and will be all of those things, and you can access all of that in this moment. I cannot express that enough, how you have the power in this moment to access every single tool that you have ever used before. Every single one of them. That's possible, right? Like some people go into comas and they wake up and they can speak 5 languages. Where do you think that comes from? It comes from other lifetimes and gaining access to knowledge that we all have in our 5th dimensional cloud storage. The less we're attached to ourselves as a human, the less we're attached to the 3rd dimension as a whole, the more we raise our vibration, and the more simultaneous we become. But we have to accept the state of simultaneousness. We have to accept the state of the low vibration and the high vibration. We have to accept everything, the light and the dark, not just the light, in order to get to that place. Okay? Okay, great. I wrote down something here, and I thought it was really powerful when I was channeling right before this live video. I said, the polarity will get more extreme until stabilized harmony is reached. I think that's really powerful. Once again, the polarity will get more extreme until stabilized harmony is reached. Stabilized harmony, right? So right now, we're like half of us are in the 5th, half of us are in the 3rd. Most of us are just hopping back and forth between both different parallel realities in every moment, right? And it can be crazy, and it can be confusing, and it can be an absolute clusterfuck. But that's okay, right? Loving yourself in every moment, accepting the state of being in every single moment is exactly where we want to go, okay? Okay, so that's really good. I think until 2020 at least, we're still going to be flipping back and forth, right? So extremely. And then when the rest of the world, come on people, comes on board, right? Then we can really stabilize into that higher vibrational state. Okay. Okay. Well, that is the conclusion of this really incredible and epic live video. And I think this information about shapeshifting is so important, and the understanding between ourselves in the third dimension and the fifth dimension is so important that I'm also probably going to make a podcast on it as well. So that'll probably be coming out. But once again, this podcast coming up on Tuesday is all about what is it about? Oh yeah, free will versus death. I actually put the little draw container, like it's pretty far away, so I'm gonna have to reach for it. So just one second. Okay, that was a good stretch. Okay, so I'm gonna do a live draw. A couple more announcements. Next Monday, I am doing a podcast collab with Matt Belair. So it's going to be a live video on Matt Belair's YouTube page, okay? And we're going to be talking about the hologram, quantum matrix, simulation theory, all of that great stuff. So I won't be doing my regular live video. I'm going to be on Matt Belair's live, and I'll probably post it, all over the place right beforehand, okay? So please keep that in mind. It's going to be really epic. I'm going to be hosting Contact in the Desert. I'm going to be a really awesome speaker for Disclose Fest LA. Please come out to that. Disclose Fest LA. Come see me. Give me a big hug. Nako and the Medicine People are also going to be speaking. Nassim is also going to be speaking as well. A lot of great speakers at Disclose Fest, so please check that out. Also, Contact in the Desert. I will be live streaming all weekend with Contact in the Desert, so check that out as well. It's in a couple of weeks. And then, mind-blowing webinars, which is really awesome as well. So please check that out. And podcast. It's being threatened. I really need to get my numbers up. I really need more people to transition. Whether you have an Android or an iPhone, it doesn't matter. The link that my lovely assistant Lauren is posting is going to be the link that you want to check out, okay? So my podcast is every Tuesday. I already have 6 episodes. They're literally mind-blowing. They go way deeper than I ever go in my live videos. So if you want hard-hitting, DNA-activating information and content in 30 minutes or less, you absolutely want to check out that podcast, okay? And you can also find my podcast and all of the episodes right off of my website, elizabethapril.com. Once again, I don't get paid for YouTube videos. I don't get paid for Facebook Live videos. So it would really help me out for you guys to watch and really take in that information on the podcast. It's free. Why not? Pop it on when you're going to work or when you're cleaning the house or whatever. Okay, great. So we're going to do a Facebook and Google draw, and then we're going to do an iTunes draw. I've got over 400 names in here, and anyone who has ever reviewed me on Facebook and Google and your name hasn't been chosen, it's in here. So this is going to be for a free webinar. So let's just take a look here. All right. Got one name here. And then this is going to be for the also a free webinar, and this is everyone who has reviewed me on iTunes. So please review me on iTunes, and your name will go into a small pool of about 20 or 40 people instead of 400, which is awesome. So let's see who we have here. All right. So the iTunes, we've got, oh, awesome, Teresa and Studio E. So that's Teresa Cirillo. Congratulations. She's actually a good friend of mine. So thank you for your review. I will send you a webinar. And then also Chelsea Barastucki. Congratulations. I know that you're probably watching. So congrats, and I will send both of you that webinar link, which is awesome. And then the quote, okay? I'm going to leave you all off with a quote and a beautiful tune out of my throat chakra tuning fork. So the quote to think about is, this really came to me, and thank you so much, Bo, for your super chat. I appreciate that. So the quote to think about is, experience is my highest truth. Experience is my highest truth. And people ask me all the time, Elizabeth, how do you prove what you do? How do you prove your experiences? How do you prove what you know? And I just have to say that experience is my highest truth. And I don't, push the fact that my truth is anyone else's truth. But at the end of the day, knowledge will set you free and it will allow you to experience truth. So the only truth that exists within your reality is your own experience. And no one should say anything different. And no one should be able to take that power away from you. Thank you all, once again, for joining me on this beautiful and epic, as usual, live video. I will be back next Monday. Bye, Facebook. Bye, YouTube. Thank you.